So good evening, everyone. Today I'm being joined by Ma'am December Valenciano. We call her Ma'am Daisy. Okay, so Ma'am Daisy is a full instructor at Department of Music Education in UP College of Music. She specializes in community music education, materials and methods in music education curriculum development, and choral music. Ma'am Daisy is not only a educator, she is also a singer. She is an alumna of Philippine Madrigal Singers. So, welcome, Ma'am Daisy. Hello
Saan
po.
mo naman nakuha yung information mo na yan,
Secret,
ha?
ma'am. I have my
Oo, good
resources.
research, ha?
Okay. So, thank
Hey,
you, ma'am, for accepting my invitation in such short notice.
hmm.
Yeah, okay.
Oo
So,
nga, short notice nga, no?
short notice. Okay. So we'll start the interview, ma'am, with parang kamustahan lang muna. Ayan, simple
Sige.
chikahan. Okay. So, first question. How are you, ma'am? And how do you know,
Naka!
how do you cope up with online, with everything that's happening?
Right? So, now because answering your question, ayan, maraming consultations, consultations, individual consultations. So, even if it's not, actually, it should not, the rule should be, you only talk to them on the right schedule, di ba? The proper
Mm,
schedule. But you cannot avoid it, eh.
mm,
Siyempre, alangan naman ko naman yung mga estudyante. One in the morning, wala silang internet connection. They can only talk to you in the afternoon. They'll
mm,
have to wait for the connection to come. If you don't entertain them, paano naman sila? So the teacher has to be always there, right?
mm,
So like I have one student, ma'am, sorry po, kanina wala kami internet connection. So ngayon lang ako nakikipag-consult sa iyo. What can I do?
mm.
So I'll have to hanggang gabi kami nagpa-consultation. So okay lang. Those
Mm.
are the challenges now.
Sense, ma'am, what was your process in learning how to teach online? But of course, aside from the hardware, aside from the items that you need, what was your learning process in learning how to teach online?
Yeah, the first thing was I only had a desktop. And I thought the desktop was enough.
Dito.
Last year 2020, 'di ba, March yung patapos
Mhm.
yung last year's school year,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So I thought the desktop was enough. Yung pala, I if kung mawawala yung internet connection, you should have a good cell phone. I was not attending to my cell phone. I don't really, when we were in school, face to face tayo, I didn't need a cell phone. Anyway, I live nearby.
Mhm.
Uh, an ordinary cell phone will do. It's just
Yes.
connecting with my son, di ba? Yun pala, pag nawalan ka ng internet connection, yung cellphone malaking bagay yun kasi you can
True.
have data and then
Yes.
you can use it as an alternative, right? And then dapat meron kang backup pala. Ang
Mhm.
dami
Oh
palang
my
kailangan
goodness.
backup. Grabe. Oo. And of course, you will really need, I realized I needed a very strong internet connection
Mm.
because during the face-to-face, I only have, aside from my desktop na katagal-tagal na, anyway, I can use computer in school. Di ba meron tayo
Mhm.
sa school? So I just use whatever I need in our computer in school. I didn't need a very high
Yeah.
quality internet connection. But now, I really do need a high quality internet connection. Tapos, managing pa, putting online materials. Yun, sa face-to-face, it's so easy. I go to class, I have everything in my head. And then I have
Yeah.
my PowerPoint, I have my, what do you call this, my handouts, solved. And then I talk, you know. I mean, that's what I've been doing all my life. Ngayon, I have to have my materials online.
Mm.
'Di ba? So, yung mga sources ko sa pagtuturo, I have to have them all in my file for
Yeah.
online materials. And then, hanap. And then, what do you call that nga? Yung paglalagay natin ng source sa screen.
Yung pag
Anong ginagawa? Yung
pag
mga share
ano,
screen,
yes, pag-she-share
yung mga share
screen.
screen,
Mm.
tapos yung mga grouping. What do
Yeah,
you call that?
yung
Yung pag
break room.
nag-group, oo, nagbe-break, ano, I have to learn all of those. And many
Yeah.
times, it's the students who are teaching me.
Mm.
How do I do this? How do I do this? Yan, yung pag nagre-record, sasabihin ako ng estudyante, ma'am, ganito mo nang gawin mo. The students, that's why I love the students, really. They are the ones teaching me. That's why I keep on saying, ito na yung, ito na yung, parang this is the fourth, what do you call this? Industrial revolution. When really the students you really have to give way to the students to help the teacher also. Hindi pwedeng nagmamanda-manda na ang teacher dito, no, because it's really a two-way thing already. And time will come when we will really have to allow the students to help in making the syllabi. These are my reflections now, no, na talagang it will have to be a partnership between the teacher and the student, because it's information age,
Yes.
right? It's information age, so the students, marami silang alam that even the teachers may not know. And of course the teachers have this mastery of subject matter, no, but you'll have to be open to what the students know, and then from there it will be a much better discourse, things like that, on the content, di ba? So
Yes, ma'am.
it's a very magandang learning ang nangyayari on both sides. And we have
Yes.
to be open to that.
Yes.
Yun ang mga
Right.
challenges ngayon, eh. That's what I see as challenges. And yeah, the new blood of teachers, I'm sure ganun ang mangyayari. Oo.
Do you have like a suggestion, ma'am, or do you know like a book, a YouTube channel, a page, a webinar, or someone that we can follow, on FB, someone we can follow on FB or on other social media sites na we can get useful information, and not just useful, yun talagang, ano yun, yung factual, yung walang keme, sabi nila.
Oo. Siyempre, my courses kasi like UED 100, di ba? So these are, and of course, our methods, right? Our methods courses, which I handle, 120 and 130. Marami akong, like, the difficulty in my courses is that, for example, methods, we talk about methods like Dalcroze,
Yeah.
Carabo cone method, even what you call this, MMCP, Manhattanville, which is not very well used here in the Philippines, which basically is an American methodology. Yung MMCP, wala siyang mga YouTube na makita sa I have to use YouTube because these are hands-on methodologies, eh. I have to tell them, for example, when I'm teaching Carabo cone method, when I present the Carabo cone method, I talk about floor staff. And then I show a floor staff. And then kasi sa methods, you have to do it.
Yeah.
Diba? Kasi gagawin ng estudyante, for example, you're my student in 120. You have to do the floor stuff. You have to show how the floor stuff is being used so that you can use it when you become a teacher, right?
Yes.
Because it's a very good method of teaching music. So how can I show that online? Paano ko ilalagay yan sa floor? Tapos mag-activities tayo. Diba? So what do? I have to go to the YouTube kung merong mga pinapakitang mga examples doon. So I use a lot of the YouTubes. And I did find a lot. Dalcroze method, what do you call this, Madeline Carabo cone, the ORF. There's a lot on YouTube. And then so that I'm heavy on the YouTube for methods.
Yeah.
For methods courses. Because marami. Kaya lang yung mga MMCP wala. So
Okay.
MMCP kasi is improvisation, improvisatory music yan eh. So, what else? Of course, buti na lang yung world music pedagogy, I made my own video, and then that's what we use as source for my classes, no? So I use a lot of YouTube for methods classes. Now for mga UED 100, yung mga community music,
Mm.
Marisa Silverman, she's my favorite. Of course, we have Bruno Nettel, no? Mga musicologists natin. So I used the materials I was using during the face-to-face, would you believe, some of them kinopya ko. I place it
Oh
on
my
Word.
gosh.
Kasi
Ay,
I place it on Word.
wow. Okay.
Yeah. I have the, I have my my manuscripts,
Mm.
yung dinidistribute sa estudyante
Yes.
during the face-to-face, no? Handouts, no? Yung mga readings natin, no?
Mm.
So some of them, winerd ko talaga. Kasi if I find it when I look for it on our internet, on Google,
Yeah.
babayaran pa. Bibilhin mo eh. Like yung Abeles, mga
Mm.
What do you call this? Abeles book, our
Mm.
Abeles. I have to buy it. I don't
Yes.
like to buy it. Why should I buy it?
May copy na eh.
Oo. Oo. So ang ginawa ko, kinopya ko. Some of them kinopya ko. I place them on Word, and that's what I use. I show it. PowerPoint ko yung iba. Ganon.
Mm.
Abeles, and then of course, buti na lang I found some good readings that can be used. But of course, you have to cite the
Yeah.
sources. Yeah. So that's what I'm using, and I have a lot of resources, very good ones, new ones. Yeah. And in fact, marami ang nahanap na magaganda na I was not aware of when I was
Actually, ma'am,
doing
yes.
face-to-face. Yes. Marami.
It opened a lot of
Yes.
possibilities, resources. Kasi when
Yes.
you have a library na parang you would always look there eh. Kasi
Yun na lang
why?
nang yun.
Yeah.
Oo.
So
Yun
now
pala ang
it's more.
dami.
Yeah.
And updated pa, more updated.
Yes, actually.
More new readings, more new ones. Yeah. Like I found a new article on community music.
Mm.
Hirsch, I think it's Hirsch. I don't remember. Yeah, and many good videos on the rationale behind the goodness of teaching music for our methods classes, and also for my EDMA class.
Mm.
Yeah,
So would
so
you
ang
say,
ganda.
ma'am, na did technology make things easier or harder for you to prepare lessons right now?
It's okay. I find it easy. It's okay. Ano lang, matrabaho lang, because you have to look for them.
Yes.
You really have to look for them. That's the thing about information age. So everybody keeps on using internet connection, Google, 'di ba? 'Di ba? Kung ano-ano lang nakikita, but you have to give the direction. That's the job of the teacher. There are many sources, no? There are many resources, but you have to direct the students how to find it, what is the better kind of reading that they should indulge themselves into, right? So it's still, that is still the importance of the teacher. Kasi
Yeah.
marami naman mahahanap eh. Kung marami. Kaya lang ano doon?
Yes.
Para na may substance, di ba? We're looking for the better
The best of
article
the
that will
best.
give the better substance. That's the teacher's role.
Yes.
Still the teacher. I would still say that. Kasi sabi nila, hindi na kailangan ng teacher. No, I don't. I beg to disagree. Yeah.
That's right. So, as ma'am, no, as music educators, we have to, or as educators talaga, we have to be creative, as mentioned earlier sa yan, habang tichika tayo, we really have to be creative, especially now where there is a scarcity for resources. Kasi, like for example, yung bata or yung parents, hindi naman sila pwedeng laging lumalabas kasi it's no, even though they're not prone to sickness, yung mga tao sa bahay, they're probably prone. Yeah, they might get sick.
Mm.
So how 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 can we as music educators, inspire them, or what can we use as alternative for specific methods, like for example the orf na talagang need, well, you don't really need an instrument for that, eh. You can still teach orf in a way, but
Mm-mm.
yeah, what do you think, ma'am, is a good alternative for specific methods? At what I could think of right now is orf, eh, kasi si Koday, you can teach Koday with, hands and what do you call those? Yung,
Stick notation.
yeah, segmentation. But the first thing that came into my mind talaga when I was thinking of a question was the ORF. Kasi I remember during
Mm.
our MU Ed 100, ma'am, the ORF method was one of my favorite talaga. Parang, nakaka-excite, may instruments. No, it's part of
Mm-mm.
the excitement na, there's xylophones, there's a glockenspiel. It's like,
Mm.
and what more kung sa bata, 'di ba? Parang wow, there's blocks here, no? And
Mm.
regardless kung
Mm.
anong gawin nila, they won't make a mistakes kasi we can
Yes.
provide the bar to them, eh. So what do we do
Mm-mm.
now na what can we
Walang
provide as an
instrumento.
alternative? Yeah.
Oo. You can use found objects as much. Actually, it should even develop more creativity.
Mm.
Lalong mas challenging talaga. So, for example, maganda nga yung may practicum class last sem. My high school practicum last sem. Uh, ang description nga ni Ma'am Sherla, nagmamagindanawan sila sa kusina. Kasi, sa kusina. Kasi, yung mga gongs, di ba? Yung mga gongs with boss, edi yung mga pans,
Yeah.
naging pans. So, it's, yung performance practice, mas naging totoo. Di ba? And, especially for pandemic times, no?
Yeah.
It's good to have everyone in the family make music however the music is.
Yeah,
However the
yeah.
music is created, right? So you use your imagination. Hanap ka ng mga mga hindi na ginagamit ng mga pans or like that, and then you make music out of them. Uh, if you want to use structure, then follow the structure. If not, improvise, no? Basta may konting guide, and everybody is going to be happy. My practicum class last sem in high school.
Mm-hmm.
High school kasi yan, di ba? Ang high school kasi hindi lang elements of music yan eh. You're talking about Asian music.
Yeah.
So, you're talking, the content is kind of more sophisticated, di ba? I like to use the word sophisticated kasi you're talking about Chinese music, you're talking about mga Asian ensembles, no?
Mm-hmm.
So, our students, you guys will have to know those things, no?
Yeah.
So, and be able to not only teach about it but also implement it with your students, whatever kind of students you can have during these pandemic times. Kasi parang vertical classroom na yan eh. Magiging
Mm,
vertical classroom.
yeah.
So, oo. Kasi we cannot have, I don't see having practicum in a class with a class eh. Kasi parang mas walang, I don't know. I have to find out in terms of application. I have to find out. But I like the concept of the vertical classroom where you are really hands-on with your students, even if they are just members of your family. You know?
Different people, no?
So, yes, the people around you, even your neighbors, pwedeng neighbors, tapos magmamas, at least you're not very far. Kasi
Yeah.
yung online, parang hindi ko maintindihan yung, I don't know. Anyway,
Mm,
I have to study that. I have to study that. Kasi
yes.
there is for example, sa bahay, no, yung mga siblings mo na sana high school kahit papaano. So you teach the concept, what's in the DepEd, no, yung mga content na nasa DepEd, and then you use your creativity in being able to implement, and that's what music is about. You don't have to be so
Yes.
structured. We don't
Yeah.
have to follow the concepts, we learn about it somehow,
Yeah.
but hindi naman magiging musikero yung mga yan. They're not naman going to end up in fact, it will in fact lead all the more to the College of Music because they appreciate it and na-enjoy, di ba? But of course, not only enjoy but also understand about it. How else can you understand it if you don't really do it?
Yes.
Di ba? With creativity. Pag
Mm.
naiintindihan yan pag na-enjoy kasi ginagawa. Eh
Yes.
kung hindi mo gagawin, naiintindihan nga pero mababaw, di ba?
Mhm. Parang
So,
listening
better
lang.
talagang,
They really have to
oo,
do. They have to make. They have to create.
yes, you have to do it. You really have to do it. Dapat may doing talaga, may psychomotor
Yes.
element talaga siya.
That's
Oo.
right. Yes.
Yeah, and
Oh
then
my
then there's more
gosh.
appreciation, there's more enjoyment, and
Yes.
that's the essence of music when you enjoy it, right? You just don't talk about it or read about it or what's
Yeah.
that? That's not music to me. That's not
Yeah.
music.
Music is more than music, than
Yes.
notation, than reading, than playing. It's more
Mm-mm.
than that.
Yes, you have to do it with creativity. Yeah. So the teacher, kailangan yung teacher talaga. You will sit down and think about how to do it with your student. Talagang iisipin mo talaga. And the more enjoyment there is, the better. Because that's what music is about, right?
That's right.
Ayun.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know, ma'am, na it's bad to bad to compare. Pero
Mm.
do you think, ma'am, the students' skills are improving ngayong online classes? Nag-i-improve naman sila, no, ma'am?
Student skills, what do you mean? In
Parang
performance?
in
So performance,
performance, in
parang baka
ano.
hindi. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not sure. But for example, in my MUED 100 class now, I ask my piano majors.
Mhm.
Siyempre, what they tell, kasi of course, every time when I teach MUED 100, di ba, I always ask it by, oh, how does it affect you, piano major?
Yeah.
How is this with you, composition major? Di ba, ganun ako when I'm teaching MUED 100, no? I
Mhm.
usually relate it with the major, no, in terms of majors. Yung mga piano majors, sabi, nahihirapan sila and kasi it's online eh. Iba syempre yung talagang nandun sa piano, di ba?
Yeah.
Kasi what's happening now is they're sending their video to the teacher and then the teacher will watch it. Sa yung iba naman parang nagzo-zoom,
Yeah.
Zoom teaching, no? Uh, but what kind, I don't know. Some of them are not happy with it. That's what I see. Yung mga voice naman, if I'm not
Ano
mistaken,
sila?
I think maraming mga voice majors na hindi na lang nag-enroll. Oo. Because it's very hard. It has to be face to face. No? Performance. That's why sa music ed, kahit pa paano, we're lucky
Hmm.
with this online, no? Kahit we are mas I would say we're lucky because kahit pa paano we are able, although yung sa methods ang problema and the
Yeah.
practicum.
Yeah.
The methods and the practicum
It's
are
the
suffering.
application.
Kasi yung practicum, you know what's in practicum, classroom management is very important. Are you learning anything at all in terms of classroom management with your classes now?
Ano, ma'am?
Classroom management, hands-on yun.
No.
Oh, so that's where
So hard.
we are suffering.
Hmm.
Classroom management. Because in teaching, no matter how good your lesson is, if you cannot handle the
Yeah.
class,
Wala.
tatapon mo yung lesson mo.
Yeah.
Kailangan, on the spot, you'll have to make a new
Yeah.
lesson depending on the behavior of your learners on that day. Because the behavior of learners change. Very dynamic very dynamic
Yes.
tayo di ba? Everything,
Especially now, ma'am, no? Kasi as I mentioned earlier,
yeah.
controlled eh. You can control it
Mm-hmm.
on the classroom kasi you can control. You can get rid of decorations. You can change the color. Baka
Yes.
distracting yung color. You can naalala ko nung LM kami, ma'am, my teacher used to put the clock behind us para
Mm-mm.
mahuhuli niya kung sino yung nagmamadali umuwi. Pero now,
Hindi harapan, oo.
yeah. Pero now, wala eh. You'll have
Oo,
a hard time eh.
oo.
You have to talk with the parents pa.
Yes,
You have to ask
yes.
kung ano yung background nila. Like before naman we ask their backgrounds eh, like how is this kid at home? Kasi iba yung personality na at home and at school eh. And right now what we're ang role kasi natin is to is to put the school inside their homes din eh. But if you notice, parang ang hirap eh. Noon, ang ginagawa natin is make the student feel at home at school. Ngayon, how can we make them feel feel at school at home? Parang, sabi ko, wow, paano kaya gagawin? Paano yun? Ang daming
Tama,
challenge.
tama. Oo, grabe ang challenge, ano? Yeah, that's right. That's right. So, yeah, there are many challenges really. That's why the guidelines for us teachers in fact now is to teach the essentials. So, given time constraints pa, no? Time constraints include internet disconnections.
Yeah.
No, so sira ang course pack, sira ang syllabus.
Mm.
So what we need to do is to really focus on the essentials, and dun pa lang nagsasuffer na yung subject
Yes.
because there are many what we call oh dear, in curriculum, there's a term for it eh, mga topics that don't have to be there but are needed to be discussed. You know,
Yeah.
di ba may mga ganon, no? Na during the discussion of a certain concept, and then you go to something which you think is also important,
Yeah.
no?
There's no
So,
parang it's wrong to
because of,
say it's wrong parang it's wrong to say teach only the essential
oh
you know when
yes, yes.
everything is connected eh,
Oh,
everything has to be
exactly,
connected.
exactly.
ang
Very
hirap ang
true.
hirap
And
i-summarize
you need
pala.
time for that, di ba? You need time for that. Kaya nga sa yun ang mga disadvantages ng online teaching. Hindi na nagiging holistic, parang
Yeah.
ako personally kasi we're doing music education eh, 'di ba? Music education, grabe. It's so hindi pwedeng china-chop-chop mo yung mga,
Yeah.
'di ba? It's like we're teaching a whole song. We don't really teach it by element. This is the melody, this is the rhythm. No,
Yeah, we
we don't
teach the
teach
whole
music that
thing.
way, right? So parang nasasayang yung
Yeah.
opportunity to learn,
Especially
because
mom with online, no?
I would say, that's a disadvantage.
You can't do it ng isang bagsak. Especially now with
Yes, yes, 'di
online.
ba?
Ay,
Oo.
my
'Di
gosh.
ba? I mean, you guys are teaching preschool and you would like to teach more to the children, I'm sure.
Hmm.
I'm sure you want to engage more with them kasi lalo na mga preschool yan. Ang sarap turuan yata ng music ang mga
Yes,
malilinggit, ha?
ma.
Ang sarap, 'di ba? So nice. But online, it's funny.
Trip ko. Do you have a way to prevent cheating daw in online session?
It's a test assessment,
Mm-hmm.
mga
Yeah,
tests.
yeah.
You know, for me, I've always adopted it. Uh, Maybe because of my experience with the College of Education. Yung mga paper and pencil test, hindi yan uso sa akin. It's more of, and because you will really, if you do give a paper and pencil test, it has to be a very synthesized question, or they have to be very synthesized questions na hindi yes or no, who is,
Yeah,
of course, never like that, no? It has to be a question that's more of a reflection,
that's
and
right.
putting all the ideas together, all the concepts all together, no? So it's like a reflection. In fact, usong-uso sa akin yung magsulat ka, you will make a reflection on everything that we talked about, like if it's a final exam, right? So I will make questions, I will create questions that synthesizes all the concepts together. So you cannot answer a question without knowing the previous concept.
Yeah.
Diba? So you will have to know the concepts connected to be able to answer the question. So talagang integrated lahat na konsepto sa utak. So therefore, discussions really have to be listened to. So there's no way the student can cheat. And
Mm.
it can be personal eh.
Yes.
The answers can be personal. So those are the questions that I ask. If I do ask, and usually to me they are more like reflection papers. Oo, more reflection. It's an up. I'll give an example. Let's say I'm talking about Piaget and Vygotsky, for
Mm.
example. I'm comparing the psychology, the theories of Piaget vis-a-vis the theories of Vygotsky. Okay, so it's so easy to know what are the theories of Piaget, what are the theories of Vygotsky. I mean, so what, di ba? So what? So how do they relate to you as a student, as a music student? That should be the question. That's the question that I will
Yeah.
ask. So, and not just as a music student, as a composition student, as a music
Mm.
education major student. How do they relate to you? How do they apply to you? How does this particular theory of Piaget relate to you when you teach the grade 3 student? That's very specific, ha? Kasi
Mm.
yung mga theories ni Piaget, naka-classify yan.
From
From
toddler.
what do you call this?
Yeah.
From the baby up to from 0 age to such age, right? High
Yes.
school, elementary, or so if you're teaching elementary, when you're in the music, you're teaching elementary class. How does this theory of Piaget how do you apply this particular theory of Piaget as you're teaching your grade 3 class? Or Steiner, if I'm talking about Steiner, because I like the theories of Rudolf Steiner, who talks uh, about the developmentals that the every child in our every learner in our class has a natural developmental stage, they follow. You have to know, as a teacher, you have to know the developmental stages of your students, right? Of each learner in your class. So how will you handle your grade 5 student in line with Rudolf Steiner's theory? So yan ang magiging example. How can they cheat with that kind of question?
Mm.
So those are how I do it in my assessment. And usually that would be my final requirements
Yeah.
na.
I like
Oo.
this, ma'am,
So
no?
may mga
A lot of
questions na.
Yeah, a lot of teachers can use this, no? Especially, I guess there are subjects talaga that need to memorize, no? But this is a good way to make exams. Kasi
Yes.
nakaka-stress din magkabisa, eh, no? Parang
Oo.
nakaka-stress magkabisa ng, oh, kabisaduhin mo to, kabisaduhin mo yan. Kabisado mo nga,
Oo.
pero yeah, so what, 'di ba? Parang how will you
Kasi,
apply it?
yes. Kasi in my question, how can you answer that if you don't know the theory of Vygotsky? You have to know first the theory.
Yeah.
Okay, so since it's online, pwedeng, ano yung theory na ni Vygotsky? O ngayon, okay, so gets mo yan kasi nandyan eh, di ba?
Yeah.
It's online eh. Pero how to apply it to your
Yeah.
teaching,
You'll
you'll have to
never,
think. That's
yeah.
what I will look at eh. My rubrics are based on that, on
It's
how
not
you will answer
it's not
that.
the
Not,
definition, no?
yes, no, it will not
Kasi you
be
can
on that.
search that, eh. You can type ka lang sa
Oh,
Google, what is this
definitely.
and that? But how can you
The
apply
answers
it?
are there. Right. Oo. And it's easy for us kasi it's education eh. I don't know with other subjects, no? Kasi like
Mm.
science, baka very,
Uh,
uh, what you call this, very specific, di ba? Tayo, it's education, so there's very much on application.
yes, that's right.
Oo. Because when I ask a question on education, I'm imagining, for example, if I ask you a question, I'm imagining you teaching. So how are you going to apply this specific theory as you're
Mm.
teaching yung mga babies mo?
Yes.
Yung 2-year-old, ano yan, ang lakas ng, ng ego, very egocentric ang mga 2-year-olds. Or you can see that among your children.
Mm.
3-year-olds, tako, oo, may mga ako, I believe in that. It's very true because I've experienced teaching all of these levels. all the way from preschool to from toddlers all the way to even adults. I mean, I give workshops to adults, right? So all my learners are from the preschool, from the toddlers all the way. I taught preschool when I was teaching the German school, the French school, in Ateneo. Yung mga preschool, kaya nga ang sarap-sarap silang turuan eh. But very difficult, very
Sure.
tedious.
Oh, in line with that, ma'am, you mentioned that you've teach from toddlers to adults and you've had a lot of experience na. How did
Mm.
the pandemic or how did this online setting change you as as a teacher or as a
That's a very
person?
good question, actually. I can answer you straight. I really, there's nothing like teaching face to face. Really. Ang kasi iba yung harap mo yung estudyante, and then I love teaching, any learner. I will teach any learner, no, from yung mga malilinggit to the adults. Ano pero I have to feel them eh. I have to feel them physically. Iba yung nararamdaman mo sila and how they're looking at you, and really, teaching for me is like performing. Diba, when we're teaching, we're like performing, diba? So, when you're performing, you are actually, what's the best word ba? There's a connection eh. The connection, you have to make that connection, right? Yeah, and you have to feel it. Online, paano naman ang connection? Ang nakikita ko, yung mga mukha nila, yung mga pangalan nila. I don't even know if they're listening to me. I don't even know if, until I tell them, can I see your faces? And then they'll turn it on. And I cannot force them because yung mga data, baka limited. Yung mga internet connection, limited. So, ano yun? Parang it's so superficial. Pero if it's face to face, wow, all of you are looking at each other and there's so much connection. It is so beautiful. The experiences when after my teaching hour, I'm so parang hyper, parang performance na, di ba when you're performing, parang nakalutang ka. Di ba nakalutang ka, parang hirap na hirap kang bumagsak sa mundo. That's when you're performing. I feel that every time I'm teaching. When my class leave and I'm leaving the classroom, that's how I feel when I'm teaching. And I don't get that online teaching.
Oh, how do you motivate, ma'am, your students to continue practicing or to move forward despite the challenges?
Yeah, motivate. I think the key to motivating our students to get to keep up for the whole semester with your class para hindi sila mawala is to show compassion to the students. I do show compassion, a lot of it, to my students. At the same time, they know that I mean business. I mean,
Yeah.
you enrolled in my class. There are rules to follow, and at the same time, I can be compassionate with you. But please, you have to coordinate with me. Tell me your problems. Tell me what's happening to you. Or there are other people whom you can tell
Yeah.
you can mention your problems to.
Mm.
Like the point person, whoever coordinator. Maraming ganun sa akin. So, okay naman kami. Okay, my classes are well. Yeah.
What is the role of music education or music right now during a pandemic?
Very important. Lalo na that's in my, yung opening remarks ko sa CWATS program natin. That's what I submitted to Bea. Music education is very important these days because we need it. Well, I will use the word, it's therapeutic value. No, it's very important because it can lift our spirits with all these anxieties and
Yeah.
stress and depression that's happening to families, to people. I mean, it's real. The fear is real, di ba? It's not an illusion. It's real. So when I was doing my practicum last sem with my class, ang saya-saya kasi did you see the video yung how it affected their families also? Yung like for example, may mga estudyante tayo na yung mga estudyante nila yung mga pinsan nila, so there was so much music in their homes. Kahit na mga found objects lang yung mga instruments nila. So during those days na nagagaganon sila, ang saya-saya nila sa bahay nila. So that is the essence of music, right? That should be the essence of music. So imagine if that happens to every family, kahit pa paano, it can it can it can change the mood.
Yeah.
Kahit isang oras man lang, isang araw man lang, and when it does, it can sustain for a long time, right? Di naman kaagad yan mawawala eh.
Yeah.
We can say that it can be superficial for some time. Sabi nga nila, music daw is artificial. It's an artificial art. Oh yeah, but that time when it happens, when its magic happens, it can do something, right? It can change a thought, which is a negative thought that time, right? So
Yeah.
it can become positive. That's why music education is very, very important. I think it's the most important subject that we should be dwelling in these days, right?
Yeah. It's a
Grabe ang importance ng music. Just this afternoon, I was feeling tired, and I was feeling kind of medyo na medyo naproproblema ako with some consultations, no? And then I suddenly remembered a song that I was singing with my sisters when I was younger. Suddenly, nag-change yung mood ko. No, I said, wow, grabe. It suddenly changed my mood. And then suddenly I was like moving and doing things that I didn't want to do at first. Yan ang magic ng music eh. Imagine if people don't have that. Kawawa naman sila, di ba?
Yeah.
No? Such a pity. That is why music is very important. Kailangan talaga, kahit isang tao man lang in every family should have music to contaminate the whole family. No?
Because it's not targeting the past. It's not targeting the future. It's targeting
Now, the present.
yeah,
Yes.
it's not kasi that's what's important eh, 'di ba? You make the most out of what is now. Kasi pagdating ng
Exactly.
future, you'll remember it. You'll remember it
Yes.
something as good. You know, what you do now is important talaga, and what we have and what we should give importance talaga is the things that we do with the people around us, you know.
No? And another thing about music kasi, yung connections na nagagawa ng music is very important like sa family, you know? That's why I was mentioning, I really wish every family had one member who is into music to contaminate the whole family. Kasi pag may isa lang dyan, maano na yan eh, the connection of, the connections that music makes, di ba? It really has a strong impact, no? You cannot imagine the magnitude of the effect of music in every family, di ba? No? So that's why I cannot understand yung DepEd natin, why they don't make music a major subject. I cannot understand why they don't see that.
Yeah.
Grabe, no? Even kaya, kahit pa paano yung si Imelda Marcos, yung marami ang nagawa niya, in terms of music. Kasi the government has to support eh. It really should support for a country. I really believe it will help. Imagine if it is a law of the government to make, dapat yung music ganito. You can imagine what kind of a people it will be. Lalo napaka-musical pa naman ng Pilipino. Lalo tayong sasayan yan,
ang
di
rich
ba?
ng culture natin eh.
Oo, di ba? Napaka-importante even by families. Like lalo na ngayon, pandemic, everybody's morose, everybody's sad, everybody's parang nawawala ng pag-asa. Ano bang mangyayari sa atin? Ganito na lang ba tayo? Di ba ganun ang mga tanong ng mga tao? I mean, it's a reality. Kahit ako, I'm also asking that to myself eh. Diba? But we have to do something, and one way is music. What else? Buti na lang tayo, we know that.
Yeah.
Swerte
S-
pa tayo eh, di ba? We
Super,
have to,
mom.
yeah, we really have to count that blessing, you know?
What is your advice, yeah, for students and most especially teachers, ngayong online setting, ngayong may pandemic?
How do we handle this pandemic ba? Ako, I really just have to go day by day by day by day and then get used to it. Ganun lang naman yan, di ba? Get used to it and then keep on learning, read. Ayan no, now that my internet connection is strong, all the more I have no excuse, for myself not to learn more and to look for more materials.
Yeah.
Never ending ang learning natin, never ending. And then, uh, when I retire, I have time to look back and then gather my materials and then upload my own new materials with all the experiences I went through teaching, teaching my very good students, for example, di ba? And then writing about it and then uploading them. That's what I would be doing. That's what I would, yeah. That's what teachers should be doing. Sa music, in terms of music, nako, yung mga problema ng music, lalo na yung mga methods natin, no? Methods, check because there are many materials. I will say that there are actually many materials that you can find on internet. Use the technology. There's technology. Buti na lang nga may technology. That's a plus also. Although it can also be a minus because ang nangyayari, puro technology. During the beginning of this pandemic and we were teaching, I would spend, umaabot ako minsan hanggang 1 o'clock in the morning just looking for materials. Kasi ang dami.
Yeah.
Ang daming pagpipilian, and reading materials. So many. It's like the whole library was all in my laptop.
Hmm.
'Di ba? So, that one is already keeping you alive. But of course, you have to be careful also because of the health,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
My son had to tell me, Mama, sleep! You need to sleep! Ganon. Kasi I was so, parang na-overwhelm ako sa materials. Ang
Yeah.
gaganda eh. Ang gaganda
Yeah.
talaga. Yeah. That's why we have to also take advantage of that. Yung mga opportunities na mga ganon, take advantage of it while we can, no? While in fact, this is giving us time for it, no?
Mm.
Yun. That's what I would say. And not to lose hope. Ano lang yan, dadaan at dadaan din naman yan eh. Di ba? And then let's sing. You know what? I sing. Now I'm starting to vocalize again. Yung mga hindi ko nagagawa noon when I was nung face to face kasi we're always in school
Yeah.
teaching, di ba? And now since I'm at home, I have time to I'm vocalizing again. I'm singing my songs. I'm singing to my families. Yung private lang, I send it via messenger, yung ganon.
Yeah, so thank you so much, Ma'am Daisy. I've enjoyed our conversation so much. Very deep.
Kalokohan natin.
Kalokohan.